Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jenna and this is my spot to document my pregnancy so that I can have something to look back on and compare my future pregnancies with this one. And also maybe just meet some other women who are maybe expecting. So this is going to be my 17 through 20, 21-ish week update. So technically 5 months. I turned 22 weeks tomorrow, so now I can cover everything in this past week too. One thing I'd like to fill you in on first is that at our 20-week ultrasound, which I'll talk about at the end, we found out our baby is a little girl, which is so exciting and so sweet. There's a whole story behind that, but I'll tell that at the end. So, I've already read on the app, so I'm just going to say what I have read. So, the baby's about as long as a cucumber right now, which is long. That makes me think like, well, that's crazy. That takes up like my whole belly already. But the app said at around 20 weeks she was like around 10 ounces, but on the ultrasound they weighed her at 14 ounces. So she's measuring a little bit big, and I'm assuming that she's a little bit longer than a cucumber because she weighs more than what it said. So I don't know. What the baby's up to in there right now is a lot of moving, I can tell you that. But she has begun swallowing fluid, which we actually got to see on the ultrasound, which is really funny. And she's also making meconium, it says, which is what pretty much is the baby's first poop when it's born. It's like tar, like black tarry substance. And something exciting is that we are past the halfway mark, we are over that hump, and now I feel like time is just gonna fly by, which I'm ready for because I'm very impatient. Now on to my body stats. So, I need to measure my belly because I haven't done that yet. But I have gained, I have gained 12 pounds if you count the weight that I lost from morning sickness. So I'm just going to say numbers because it's easier. When I found out I was pregnant, I was 132 pounds. And then I lost around 4 pounds just from being sick and the food aversion. So they weighed me in at my first appointment at 128 pounds. And now I'm 140. So I've either gained 8 pounds if you go off of what I was before I was sick, or I've gained 12 pounds since being sick, if that makes sense. Sorry if the sound just changed. Our heat just came on. I don't remember what I was measuring at in the last update, so I'll have to go back and look. At the widest part, we are 36.5. So at the widest part of my belly, it's still 36.5, which I believe is what it's been at for a long time. I feel like I started showing really early just with like bloating and everything, and then once I hit like 10 weeks, I haven't gotten much bigger. Like, I've gotten more round, that's for sure, but I haven't gained much in like circumference. Like I feel like I look more pregnant because I have actual like round belly instead of just bloating, but I feel like I haven't grown any, if that makes sense. I don't know. Now on to my symptoms. I am feeling, how do I word this? I'm feeling very good in most ways. In some other ways, I'm feeling much worse, and I don't think it has anything to do with pregnancy. So I'll get into my pregnancy symptoms, and then I'll talk about why I'm feeling not so great. I know I said I feel super great, which I totally do. I feel awesome, especially compared to the first trimester. I'm really enjoying pregnancy right now, like having fun. Yeah, there's not much to complain about. I mean, I'm not sick or anything, but I do have a few symptoms that just are a little bit annoying. The kicks are going crazy. She's a little nuts sometimes. Sometimes I can't feel her at all throughout the day, and then other times I feel her like so much where it actually kind of hurts. Like, she's getting really strong. I do have an anterior placenta, so that means I won't feel it as strong as some women do. But I don't know like why people say that, because I started feeling her pretty early, around like 14, 15 weeks, and then I don't have any trouble feeling her. Along with the kicking, I have been experiencing many cervical kicks, if that is even a term. Or I'm not sure if they're hiccups because they're kind of like timed, like they're very consistent, but it feels like she's like kicking or punching my cervix, and it just sends like a big shock or vibration through that area, and it's very strange and kind of uncomfortable sometimes, but it's kind of cute because I know it's her kicking. The breast tenderness has made a comeback, and it's like just as bad as it was when I first found out I was pregnant. Obviously that area is just preparing for nursing, and it's just a natural thing that comes along with it. So I'm just getting through it, and I know it's probably gonna get worse with breastfeeding. I've had a lot of belly and pelvic soreness, like just a lot of pressure on my belly and pelvis. Like I think that just the weight and stuff of my growing belly is starting to catch up with me, and my hips are not really growing with it as much yet. Like they're not catching up to it. So the uncomfortableness in my belly and pelvis is kind of always there. I stretch a lot. I do a lot of hip opening stretches and exercises, which helps me tremendously. So that's really bearable. And then I've been getting frequent cramping, kind of like period cramps, which I'm assuming is just because she's getting bigger and so is my uterus. So I'm not worried about that. I am so hungry all the time. Like I can never eat enough. I'm always eating, but like just snacking, and then when meals come I can eat so much. Like it's unbelievable because I rarely ate. Not that that's good, but I rarely ate before I was pregnant, and now I'm eating all the time. I have been really tired, which is kind of strange because I feel like most people say the second trimester is when you have the most energy, which I will say I had I do have much more than the first trimester, but I get so tired at like 8. Like I could go to bed at 8 and sleep until 8 the next day. I don't know. I get really tired at night. Throughout the day I'm perfectly fine, but at night I'm really tired. Now on to some embarrassing symptoms. They're embarrassing, but no one ever talks about them, so I think that I need to, and I want to warn myself for when I'm watching this back that this is normal and it's okay. It's gross, but it's okay. So, peeing, where do I even begin? I have had a problem controlling my bladder. So I know that like when you laugh or sneeze, whatever, you can pee a little bit, which that has happened to me where when I was sick and coughing, I would cough and I would just pee. Then came the way worse stuff that I don't even want to talk about, but I got kind of like, what is wrong with me? So I just want to tell you, if this happens to you too and you're pregnant, don't worry about it. Like I am here to tell you that it happens when you're pregnant, and it happens to a lot of women, but they just don't talk about it. So I woke up in a wet puddle in the middle of the night, and I had peed myself when I was sleeping. So I had a dream that I was going to the bathroom, and I woke up and I had actually went to the bathroom. And then the next week, the same thing happened again. And I was like trying to Google, and everyone's like, oh, that happens when you're pregnant just because like you're tired and you have to pee all the time, or the baby could push on your bladder and then you just can't hold it in. So they're saying to do like the Kegel, whatever, however you pronounce that, exercises. But my muscles there are strong because I do them, and I can count the amount of time you're supposed to be able to count in between them or whatever. So that's not the issue. I don't know what the issue is. That's really embarrassing, so if that happens to you, just know you're not alone. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about that kind of goes along with symptoms, which is why I have been feeling not good, is because I have IBS, which if you don't know what that is, it's not really the cutest. It's called irritable bowel syndrome, and I just basically have I don't really know the best way to explain it, but I have like overly sensitive pain receptors in my bowels, and certain foods trigger those things, and I don't know the real definition of IBS, but you can have IBS which just causes a lot of bloating and cramping, or IBS that causes constipation, or IBS that causes diarrhea. And I kind of have all those put together. I've had it around 3 years and it's become really manageable. I have made food journals, I've taken medications, I've taken fiber, I've taken laxatives, like, I don't know, there's just been a lot of things and I've had to kind of switch it up and stuff, but I got it under control. And then when I found out I was pregnant, I was really nervous because it can make it worse. Just because so much is moving around. I mean, your intestines shift, like they move and get squished. And so I was really worried, but actually it made my IBS go away until probably a month ago. So a month ago is when it started to come back, and it's been getting progressively worse. So it's not like I'm eating trigger foods or anything. I'm eating very well. I don't know, I just get like random, very terrible cramping in my whole stomach, and it just like comes in waves, and it's very frustrating. Obviously, if you don't have IBS, this is not something that you'll experience in your pregnancy, I hope, but if you do have IBS, then that's just life, I guess. But I'm getting through it, and I'm trying to figure out ways to make it more manageable. So please say a prayer for me if you remember, because I'm getting very exhausted from it, and just it's putting a lot of stress on my mind and my body, and I don't want it to put any stress on the baby. So pray for me for that if you remember. And then on to my cravings, which I have actually had cravings now. I haven't had any that's unbearable besides one, which is McDonald's iced coffee and a biscuit. I do not eat McDonald's ever. Like, I haven't in years, but I really wanted a breakfast biscuit and an iced coffee. So we got that. But otherwise, the most frequent ones have been ice cream, like Wendy's Frosties, brownies, which I made those too, so I got rid of that one, and just chocolate in general, but not like chocolate chips. Like, it needs to be a real chocolate bar or like chocolates. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about was our appointment, our 20-week ultrasound. That was definitely the highlight of my month. I was looking forward to that throughout my whole pregnancy. That was really fun. My husband was telling people throughout our whole pregnancy that we weren't finding out. Sorry, the heat just came on again. He was telling me that we weren't finding out because he didn't want to, and at first I didn't want to either, and then in like week 5 I was dying to find out. Like, it was bothering me. I really wanted to find out, and I was getting very emotional about it. So I guess for weeks he had been planning to surprise me at our appointment to find out the gender, and I did not know that, and no one else did either. So we got there, and the nurse was like, "Oh, are you gonna find out the gender today?" And I was gonna say no, and he's like, "Yep." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Are you lying?" And then I started crying. But that was very sweet of him. He was very thoughtful, because he wasn't really dying to find out. I think he would have rather have been surprised, but that made me feel really happy. And we found out it's a little girl, like I said at the beginning, so that was super fun. So I have a couple pictures. This is one profile shot. This one is super funny to me because she looks like a little acrobat, like that's her foot. This one is kind of creepy, but I thought was so cool, the detail they can get. So this is a face shot. Those are her eyes, if you can see. So those are like the eye sockets, and then that's her brain. But I think it's super cool, the details. It's a little scary, but it's cute because it's my baby. I am running out of breath like crazy. I think that's all for the update. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this 5-month pregnancy update, and if you're watching this because you're also pregnant, I'd love to hear down below any of your symptoms, embarrassing peeing the bed stories, how far along you are, and I just love to chat with you. So comment them down below, and if you want to come along for the remainder of my pregnancy and get to meet our little one, then you can subscribe or follow me on Instagram, which I will link down below. Otherwise, that's all, and maybe I'll see you next time.